Hello everyone, it's Mike Levin, SEO, helping you make Windows allow focus to get into the zone and achieve flow. Let's make that a little bit more readable. And we had proceeded through 8 steps that got you up to installing Linux on Windows. And now it's time for some little refinements. It really starts with a web browser at this point. Now, there was some question about virtual screens after my last series of videos, and I want to make it very clear that virtual screens are different places to work that you can move between with various controls from your keyboard. Here I am switching between the first and the second virtual screen. So this allows me to keep this completely showing while I move over here, and I never have to worry about minimizing windows and bringing different ones to the top. I just go left and right. So our stuff today starts out with customizing your web browser. I have recently installed Edge, and it carried over my settings from my other machines because of my Google login into the browser, which also brings all my bookmarks over. And it apparently does not adjust my night mode because it's nicer to look at a dark background than a bright background. So the first steps is to share those bookmarks, because having your bookmarks go back and forth seamlessly between machines is a great boon to productivity, even at the cost of a little bit of privacy, right? So much is tied to your Google login. This is one of those places where you go, okay, all right, I'll do it. Now, the next thing is when you bring up a new tab. So Control-Shift-B, by the way, is how you show your bookmarks and hide them. Being into focus such as I am, I like to hide my bookmarks mostly. And I bring up another tab, and in Edge, you can't highly customize your new tab screens. It can't be your initial startup. So if I close out of the browser and I bring up the browser, you can see it will give me my initial start page, but all subsequent new tabs are of Microsoft's choosing, which is ad laden. So we need to go into settings, and we're going to change that layout into focused, right? So it still has ads, it still has recommended, show sponsored links. Oh my God, no. And in fact, better off entirely. You don't need that stuff showing. Background. So somewhere in here is probably going to be day or night mode. Region, quick links, background. You can put your own background in here if you want. I generally don't. I do on Windows, but that's another story. New tab tips, no. Show greeting, no. Office sidebar, definitely no. I had turned that off earlier. There's this thing that always competes for your attention here, especially since Google started putting their Google Suite icons vertical in all their apps. Microsoft, not to be outdone, is doing the same thing. And I haven't uninstalled these apps yet, so they're still even there to show. We're going to have to get rid of those. But I don't see the day-night mode thing here yet, so we will have to get up to that. This feed down here is offensive, games and stuff, so it shouldn't show that at all. Quick links off, right? Shouldn't that be quick links off? Office sidebar, new tabs, content, headings only, content off. That does it. All right. So now you get to some semblance of focus. I have not gotten to night mode yet. It must be in here somewhere with me missing it, but I'll ignore that for now. What is in here? Just more promotion. All right. So take ads off Edge, change search to Google, right? So that goes up here and is, let's see, what is that? Oh, they don't make it easy. Settings. And they really hide this one. I have to find it again all the time. Appearance, start home, new tabs, and cookies and permissions. Default browser. Set settings. I believe it's cookies and permissions, ridiculously. Oh, privacy, search, and settings. Okay, so there it is. Good, I have tracking all turned off. And here is where, no, where is it? Boy, they really hide that, don't they? Address bar and search. Look at that, how difficult they make it to change it from Bing, right? So that is what you have to do to change your default search to Google, so that when you type into the address bar, do they make you hit a save button? Okay, at least they don't make you hit save. So let's close out of that tab, close out of that, and reopen Edge and see if this is a test. SEO. Oh, I clicked on one by accident. The content update is done. That's big news in my business. Know your location. Block. Block. Always block. Yeah. Right. Okay. So that was a Google search. And continuing our stuff. Oh, switch to night mode. So there's two places to switch to night mode. In Windows itself, this is set in day mode from my last time in here. So we go into settings, and that is under personalization. Themes. Background, color, sounds. Ugh. Night mode. Is it not night mode? It must be dark. Windows, Windows, Windows. Turn on dark mode system-wide. All right, so that is personalization something. Choose your default Windows mode, dark. Default app mode, dark. There we go. There we go. All right. So we got that. And I guess we'll try and do it in the browser. See if the browser is coming up in night mode. So the app under Windows picked it up for the browser. All right. Set up a network share. This is a really interesting one. Everything we're doing is setting you up for getting off of Windows eventually, right? One of the real sub-themes of this whole thing is we're moving to having you somewhere other than Windows. So you need a place for stuff that is not your local machine. This is your first modest step. Well, this is one of your various modest steps to getting your butt off a particular piece of hardware or operating system. Now, the way I do it is I use a network application server or a network accessible storage, or there's a bunch of words for it, but I use a QNAP NAS. All right. So I have one of these. I only have a 2-bay one, right? The 4-bay ones are $219. You can imagine how cheap what I have actually is. And with 2 drives, you can set up a simple mirrored array. So all your data is in at least 2 places. And then you get a couple of really cheap, external terabyte drives, and you do backups to that. So your drive is backed up on a mirrored set of drives. They sometimes call it RAID, but you're just mirroring. It's not fully utilizing what RAIDs do, but your data is free from a single hard drive going corrupt, ruining your data, but it's not backed up then. So you back up to one location and you back up another in a 1, 2, 3 backup procedure. And it's easier than it all seems. So in my bookmarks, I always keep my NAS early on in my bookmarks, and I'll log in. Okay, so here I am logged into my NAS, and setting up a network share is as simple as going into your control panel, finding shared folders, and you just add a new drive to your system here. It's easy to add the drives. Any external drives you plug in show here, but then you just can create new drives, create new shared folder. And that shared folder then becomes available all throughout your house or your home network. So the one I am going to be bringing you to is this one called data here. So see, virtual screens are great. So another keyboard shortcut you should know is Windows key E, which brings up Explorer. It's operating system dependent keyboard shortcut. I hate those, but some are so useful you just got to use them. So I already have data mapped in, but if you don't, you just go to your network, your local network. You expand that. You drill into your network. If networking is turned off, you simply click the thing that appears up here, which allows you to turn on your home networking. You make it a private local network instead of a public one. And then your network share just appears. You can drill into that. You can pick the drive that you want available all the time. You right-click it, and then you map it to a network drive, which I've already done. It is now my D drive, which is why it's showing up here. And that brings us up to the next point, which is to use Windows Quick Links. Okay, so Windows Quick Links are one of the most useful things there is. You want that data location to always be accessible. So I'll get to it through my system as opposed to the network drive, because you don't want the unmapped one, you want the letter mapped one here. And then you can simply drop that into your quick links here. So I guess we got to go in through this PC to pick it up. This is the easy way. You find your D drive and you just drag it into quick links. And there it is. It's always easy to find. While I'm here, another directory I've been using a lot because my video screen captures go into it is videos. So now the great thing is you do Windows E, you start typing data, you pop right into that location. Or likewise, you hit Windows E, you start typing videos, and you pop right into that location. You can see my recorded videos, my first attempt at this one, which I restarted, and now the one that I'm recording right now that doesn't have an icon yet because it's still recording. So that gets up to the I covered both the setup of the network share and use Windows Quick Links. Now to change the background, there's still a few offending things about this. I don't want to be looking at this all the time, either this background or these, not of my choosing icons. I could do without this one here. And this is only temporary because it's that text file I'm showing you. So now that we have the network drive mapped, okay. Now that we have the network drive mapped, it's easy for me to drop things into location. I can go to my data drive, and I can go to where I keep things like my files, my various logos and stuff. Now, I might have actually put it in location because I'm going to check under pictures. And I did. I created a backgrounds directory here. And I'm going to change my background to that, naturally. So I can right-click on it. There's a few ways to do it, but this is the way I'm doing it here. Let's see, set as desktop background, right? Mostly for branding. It's a lot more familiar, makes you feel better. It makes me feel better about where I am. It's certainly better for these YouTube purposes. Let's see, when it's an even number of icons, I can't center it exactly. So this one will be going away. But I don't like this here. So it should be a bash, it's always bash. I'm using a, when I double click it, and this is the first time I'm doing this after a reboot. So this is a full Linux startup occurring right here. It gives you the message of your first time startup for the day. This message is shown once a day. To disable it, you can create a file that hushes it. That's a special Microsoft thing. You can see details about what we're running, GNU Linux, the kernel version, and the fact it's a Microsoft variation of the Linux kernel. and we're under WSL2 for x86 64-bit, right? Okay, so we're going to exit out of this, but this is a bash shell, by the way. Oh, Linux versions and stuff. Well, it's showing you. I don't need. Okay, it's a bash shell, so I want a bash icon. Greater than icons, greater than symbols here, insult me. That's a DOS thing. That's a PowerShell thing. We want the bash logo. So I keep a bunch of icons on my data store. Icons. And now with my quick link, I can just drop those into pictures. And now I can grab it from there. Now for you, to find this thing, you just go into your browser and you type bash icon ICO. It's a little redundant, but that'll usually bring you to this one here, bash icons. And you want to grab this one and you want to save it onto your system in the ICO format. It'll give you some different choices. You want the ICO format. The largest size is fine, right? So you download that ICO, and I've already done that. That's what's sitting in that icons directory. So now I can right click on this. I can go properties, change icon, browse, pictures, icons, and then here's all the special icons I keep for different things. This one here. Okay. Okay. Now isn't that a lot nicer, right? Let's see if our icon should be smaller. You can change your size. It's set in medium. Let's see what it looks like at small size. Not bad. Small's pretty good. The point is just to have them here on your desktop so that you have your keyboard shortcuts. I will keep them as medium. I guess I got used to them in medium format. And do I have anything else on my list here? That covers it. That took us through all these 7 steps so that I feel much, much more comfortable now. And let's see. Bring up, whoops, not that, but Windows E. And drop this into Documents. It doesn't need to be on the desktop anymore. And now I can center this. And there you have it. These are the final little things I do to set into a system and feel good about the system I'm working on. Join me again as I take you through the next steps now that we have Linux on our system and easily runnable. I'm going to get Jupyter Notebook running from the Linux side. That's really where we're going with this. And a development tool called NBDev. So the killer combination of a Linux side, a Jupyter Notebook plus NBDev, and then systemd for services. And then you can develop in Jupyter Notebook and then move it over to automation. Linux side, because it's almost already there. And that's where we're going. So join in again. Glad to have you here. Don't forget to subscribe. Please comment if you have questions. I encourage the commenting. The thumbs up, any feedback is useful. You'll help guide me on my next steps.